So here at Ulta Academy, we have 3 tiers of education. We have Essentials, Master, and Elite. So no matter what level you come in at, we have an education program tailored to you. So whether you've been in the industry for 5 months or 5 years, we're always gonna have a class that's hands-on and ready for you, where you're gonna learn something. This activity is out of our Essentials class. So in Essentials, we do go back to the basics, not so much beauty school basics where we're, really diving into, cuticles and skin layers, for example, but we do go back to the chemistry basics. And with that, we talk about our peroxide, our developers, our lighteners, and you get a lot of product knowledge, which is really great if you haven't used Redken. So what we do is we go in and we're kind of deciding, will 10 volume lift as much as 40 volume? I ask this question a lot. Half the class always says no. That's all right. I thought the same thing. I was like, there's no way. It's puny. It's little. I saw this joke the other day on Facebook where, it was actually adorable. So it's like, it's like, do you even lift, bro? And then the 10 volume was like, yeah, so completely adorable, right? And I'm sitting there like, but it does. 10 volume is a bad rep because it will lift it. So let's talk about a couple of things before I jump into this demo here. First, your lightener determines your levels of lift, believe it or not. I was like, what? But with our lightener, it's the lightener. So our Redken Flash Lift, no matter what developer I use, it's gonna give me that 8 levels of lift. One's just gonna take longer. So think about a pot roast, for example. Am I gonna cook a pot roast at 400, 500 degrees? Probably not. It's gonna dry out. It's gonna cook too fast. Could I pull it out a little sooner? Maybe. It's all right. However, if I put it in at that nice 250, 300, it's gonna cook it low and slow and it's gonna stay nice and tender. And I know we go into the food analogy. I'm in quarantine. I don't really have much to go off of here. I've been cooking a whole lot. Hands up, you've been cooking so much. Y'all, the struggle's real. But I go in and I'm like, okay, it's kind of the same concept though. I'm maintaining the integrity of the hair, and not because 40 volume is bad, but because I can maintain control over here. Now, that being said, I don't want to deter you from 40 volume either. It's a great tool. I use 40 volume, for example, on my client Edie on the very top of her head. Basically, I want her to process for about 20 minutes when I'm done foiling so I can move on to my next guest. So I use 40 in that top section. It's not going to make the hair blow up. It's not. It's a timing tool, which is what's really, really great about this demo that I'm about to do. So this is going to show you that they're going to peter out about the same time. My Alka-Seltzer here, I have 1, that's going to represent my 10 volume, and I have 4, which is going to represent my 40 volume. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those in. And while we're watching this, you can see, yes, so you can still kind of see through this one. I'll put my hand down here. So you can still see through it, where this one, you can't see through it, right? And it's because my 40, it's still doing the job, but it's just doing it faster. It's a little bit more aggressive. And that's okay. As long as we know what's happening in that foil and with that lightener, we can use this to our advantage. But what the cool thing is that makes it to where if I know I'm a slow foiler, if I know that it's gonna take me 30 minutes to do that back section, this 10 volume is gonna be just fine. It's gonna cook it low and slow, and that's what we want, right? Slow and steady wins that race. So as I'm finishing that up, you can kind of see they're pretty much petering out. I'll lean this in closer. But you can see where this one, it just went a little bit higher, where this one just kind of stayed where it was. But they're done. They are both my Alka-Seltzers are good to go. So I have experienced, even in my life, where I was scared of 40. I didn't want to use it. And this activity eased my mind about it. It's like, oh, as long as I, use it the way that I need to use it and use it as a tool, like a timing tool, there's nothing to be scared of. So I love that about this activity. It really just eye-opens it, and it gets those stylists that maybe have only been in the industry a year or less, that fear away, right? Because we don't want to be scared of it. We are professionals. We went to school. We know what we're doing. So we don't need to be scared of things like this. But then it also helps my stylists that have been in the industry, 5+ years, oh, you mean I can use 10 volume and it's gonna still lift all the levels that I need and I don't have to rush it? Mind blown. That was me For sure. I was like, you mean I can use 10 volume and still get her platinum? That's amazing. Hope this was really great for you. I know this was a very great eye-opening technique for me. Stay tuned for maybe next week when I show you what it looks like when we put it under heat. Because now that you use your 41, you don't need to use heat. I know, y'all. You'll just have to stay tuned next week. Find out why you don't have to use heat on those highlights. Bye, y'all.